From Wall Street to Main Street, this is LALATE.
It's a big Monday evening as $1,400 third stimulus checks, including 30 million checks for people on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, and Direct Express card holders could continue to land in bank accounts this week. This week, March 31st, will be the third wave of stimulus checks to land by direct deposit. This channel exclusively reported over the weekend. And by the end of the week, more checks will land in the mail. Meantime, those March 26 checks from the second wave continue to be delayed for some viewers and continue to come late for viewers across the board. Elsewhere, I'll have big great news about what's happening with those $1,400 stimulus checks this week and why that your Social Security administrator ensured that those checks are coming. Meantime, over the weekend, a standalone bill was introduced by one representative to give reoccurring stimulus checks. And while we went into the weekend with a statement by the press secretary in a video you're going to see again on this channel, saying that the president had not decided about the fourth stimulus package, that particularly was not true, because hours later, the same press secretary gave a briefing about what actually is in the fourth stimulus package. That will be debuted this Wednesday. It'll have two parts. And in this video, I'll go over the two parts of the fourth stimulus package. The first to be debuted this Wednesday, the second to be debuted later this month. Meantime, an eviction moratorium has been extended by the CDC. This is great news across the board for millions of Americans who needed that relief. Elsewhere, there is a new series of surprising reports that Chuck Schumer believes there's not one, but two more rounds of reconciliations this spring. That's before we even get to September, and may not need a single vote for any more Republicans for additional stimulus. I'll have those details and more, including the surprising news from Wall Street about a massive margin call that impacted the markets. From across the board, from Wall Street to Main Street, I have all the big news about your stimulus checks, about relief, and more as we go into a big night of Evenings LALATE starting right now. Monday night for a big night of Evenings LALATE. Wow, this is a jaw-dropping, jam-packed broadcast with a lot happening, whether it's fourth stimulus, third stimulus checks, several bills, and now a new incredible report that says Chuck Schumer believes he can do not one, but two more reconciliations just this spring alone. How are you? I have all the incredible great news, and it's starting right now. How's your Monday going? Did you crush the Monday? Well, get ready to enjoy this week. It's birthday week. Yes, it's birthday week here on LALATE, and hope you are having a lot of fun. If you've not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Also, like this video. If you've not become a member, consider becoming a member. There's just so much happening. Let me go to the details first about the $1,400 third stimulus check. The $1,400 third stimulus check went out in a first wave that landed on St. Patrick's Day, March 17th. The second wave landed on March 24th, the week Wednesday thereafter. The third wave will land this 31st. This channel has exclusively been reporting since last Saturday. How do we know this? I'll have those details in a second. Meantime, also landing this week will be the third wave of mail checks, which will land at the end of this week. Also still outstanding is the mail checks for the second wave. I'll be going over those details as well. These are $1,400 stimulus checks. This includes SSI and SSDI, Social Security and railroad benefits, and more. Who is getting a stimulus check by direct deposit and who is not? Let's go over those details. First, the following groups will get stimulus checks by direct deposit. They are people who got the first or second stimulus check by direct deposit. Second, people who updated their tax return by filing it early in mid-February to update their account. you would likely also be getting a stimulus check by direct deposit. Number 3, people who use the Direct Express card. Number 4, people who are on SSI, SSDI, and Social Security and railroad benefits who do not use the Direct Express card but receive their benefits every month into a account like a big bank. Meantime, this is what you also need to know. Who is not getting it by direct deposit? Potentially everyone in the group I just detailed. Yes, a week ago today, Treasury gave us the incredible guidance about the second wave of stimulus checks and said if you receive that first and second stimulus check by direct deposit, a large amount of you will not get it by direct deposit. It'll be coming in the mail instead. So that's what I've been telling viewers for over a week, that while you may have expected it by direct deposit, Direct Express card, big bank direct deposit, it may never appear. It may be in the mail. Now, this is sort of obvious, but I have to say it. If it's in the mail, it means it's in the mail. It means your bank will not have a deposit alert for you. It means your bank will never have any information about it because it's not going to your bank. It's going to your mailbox. What does mailbox delivery mean? It means a debit card from Treasury or a stimulus check. Both are either in a white envelope or a beige envelope. They are both indescript envelopes, that can be easily thrown away and discarded if you're not careful. It looks like junk mail. The only difference is it has moolah on it. You do not want to be throwing it away. The stimulus checks by mail started in the first wave and the second wave and into the third wave. Now, here's what you also need to know. This Wednesday, the direct deposit accounts that will receive the third wave of stimulus checks will include big banks that will make the funds available on the 31st. They won't make the funds available before the 31st. Smaller banks like MetaBank and NetSpend release the funds ahead of time. They did over the weekend. It is very likely today or tomorrow you could see funds clear and available in smaller bank accounts like H&R Block, Green Emerald Card, Green Dot, and also Cash App and Chime. Why? Because they release funds early on the first and second wave. Big banks generally don't release the funds early. Why? What is early? In this case, the direct deposit effective date is March 31st, Wednesday. So big banks decide not to release funds early on a check that has an effective date of the 31st. Small banks sometimes choose to release them earlier. How do we know this? Treasury also said this in last week's official statement. Next, this is what it's important to understand, is that sometimes, in a rare circumstance, banks release the funds on April 1st, the day after. And this is one of the most important things to know about direct deposit. 9 out of 10 times, maybe even 99% of the time, you would not get an alert before the deposit appears. It just appears. And this includes the mailbox. 99% of the time, the mailbox just has a check in there and it doesn't give you an alert. So I know if you're tuning in and you have no alert from your bank, you have no alert from your deposit institution, you have no alert from the IRS tool, you have no alert from the informed consent or informed delivery from the U.S. Postal Office site, and you have no alert from the transcript tool, guess what? 9 out of 10 times, your stimulus check is just going to land. So who's going to land on Wednesday? Who's not going to land on Wednesday? What about that March 26th mail check? What about those April 2nd, April 3rd, April 4th, and April 5th mail checks as well? Yes, the third wave has mail checks now of April 2nd to April 5th, and the wave 2 still has outstanding unpaid checks of March 26th. The vast majority, the largest number of viewers this channel, have March 26 mail as their indication of where their check is. So if you do not have alert, presume yours might be in that group, because I got to tell you, I would say it's nearly 60 to 70 or 80% of the viewers of this channel have March 26 mail as their result. What's important to understand is that there's a lot of things happening, and I have all those details coming up in this video. But boy, it has been a jam-packed week, and certainly a jam-packed day just to start about your stimulus. What I want to go over first is forced stimulus. The president is expected to announce on Wednesday his fourth stimulus package. Over the weekend, the press secretary told people the president had not decided on anything. President doesn't know what he's going to do. President hasn't made the proposal. President hasn't done anything. And less than 24 hours after she made those statements, she appeared in a major newspaper and said, yes, he had. These are what's going on this week. On Wednesday, you will see part one of a two-part third stimulus package bill. Now, what do we call this? Fourth stimulus. Do we call it fourth stimulus part A, fourth stimulus part B? For purposes of clarity going forward, I'm going to call this fourth stimulus and then fifth stimulus. Fourth stimulus will be debuted this Wednesday. Fifth stimulus, they're now indicating in the next few weeks, so it sounds like late April. So what is fourth stimulus? Fourth stimulus will be called infrastructure, but it will have stimulus in there. It'll also have climate, and it'll also have stimulus. So fourth stimulus will be 1.5 trillion approximately, because it's 3 trillion over fourth and fifth stimulus. And fourth stimulus will include electric vehicle charging stations, funds to build energy efficient homes, and constructing new electrical power lines, including broadband, stimulus for you, and also climate. Now, the bill will be split. Now, fourth and fifth will be debuted progressively over time, but fourth is what you're going to see on Wednesday. A new report from Paul Bloodstow, former Clinton White House climate advisory, says electrifying Americans' cars and trucks and creating a national smart grid, expanding electrical storage, all these things will cut emissions and create jobs. Let's hope so. Great idea. Now, here is where the resistance is going to kick in for this fourth stimulus package. The fourth stimulus package is not really infrastructure, says Republicans. Republicans like Sam Gray's Republican out of Missouri says that he likes infrastructure as a bill. He is the number one Republican on the House Committee on Transportation and Infrastructure. He says, I like a transportation bill, and a transportation bill needs to be a transportation bill, but this is not. This is a climate bill. It needs to be about roads and bridges, and that's it. Nancy Pelosi said we cannot just settle for what we cannot recognize without going forward. So here to start, so you understand what's happening on Wednesday. Wednesday, you're going to see stimulus with climate and roads. And Republicans will say, no, we don't want to hear climate and roads. Climate is not roads. So there's that to start. Let me go a little bit out of order, because this is what's very important, what's going forward. And boy, are you ready to get your head to spin? Yes, because this is huge, huge jaw-dropping news. It is not in mainstream news. It is rather buried in a Politico article. Politico is now reporting that Chuck Schumer is reportedly going to delve into the nuances of reconciliation in a way in which you have never seen. What's going on? The last bill with the tow truck and the tow hitch was done by reconciliation. This next bill, fourth stimulus, will be done by reconciliation as well. How? Wait a second, what's going on? And the fifth stimulus will be done by reconciliation as well. Wait a second, what's going on? Let me explain. This is a little bit peculiar. A new report says that you get one reconciliation bill per legislative term. So the next reconciliation bill would normally be in September, meaning that if you wanted to do fourth and fifth stimulus, you could not do it by reconciliation normally. That's to start. But the political report says that, oh no, count again, because the Democrats did not, the reconciliation that was just used was a leftover reconciliation from the prior year that was used to pass the stimulus package. That means that Biden still has another reconciliation for this year. Okay, that's number one. Number two, so that would cover this new stimulus package of this week, fourth stimulus. Number two, but the political report goes on to claim that Chuck Schumer believes that a rule that he's found, Section 304, that you're going to start to hear a lot on this channel, and certainly on Politico. They believe that Chuck Schumer is going to claim that Rule 304 allows him to continue to come back and revise a prior reconciliation bill, the third stimulus package, and to do that with fifth stimulus. Okay, so here we go. That is why the Senate parliamentarian is going to be a big top official and in determining how many stimulus packages can be done without without a Republican vote. Let's recap that again, because that might be a little bit complex for some viewers to follow. The last bill was done with no Republicans. How? Tow truck and tow hitch. What was the tow truck and the tow hitch? The reconciliation process. How many reconciliations are you allowed per congressional term? One. When is the next congressional term? September. So there would normally not be another reconciliation before September, and normally you would think the fourth and fifth stimulus coming up would need to be done bipartisan with Republican votes. Well, the Democrats are going to argue they had a leftover reconciliation from last year. That's what was used just now for third stimulus in January. And that this year's reconciliation from now to September will be used for fourth stimulus. That's the first one. Then they claim as to fifth stimulus, there's a rule that allows them to go back and do another reconciliation when they're revising a prior reconciliation bill. That would be for fifth stimulus. Now, there's a couple things and a couple opinions I have about that. I think that the fourth stimulus is free and clear. I think this is now incredible great news that the Republicans can do one more reconciliation now, between now and September, for fourth stimulus. But this idea that the fifth stimulus can be done by reconciliation if you're trying to amend a prior reconciliation, well then, if the fifth stimulus bill is about health, which reportedly you'll see in the next few weeks, then there's only so much you can amend from the third stimulus package. Third stimulus package did have health in there. So there's you see how the fifth stimulus package can't go much broader. It can't go much broader than what the stimulus package just did. So this is going to get very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. More about this news in a second. But boy, I still got a lot more coming up. I have the eviction moratorium. I have big news about that. I have a margin call default. I have a new report about sites and doses, which the president has never acknowledged until a new political report today. Yes, there's a lot happening. And then I'll be covering more about that $1,400 third stimulus check on Wednesday and the later part of this week. What about that mailed delivery and that March 26th? All those details and more coming up in just a break. But stay with me. I'll be back after this commercial break. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues on LALATE tonight in 90 minutes from now as Hazard Pay returns at 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you join me for that chat fest. It's in about 90 minutes from now. But meantime, how are you? The evening is upon us, and if you've not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. It's a birthday week. Bless this channel with some birthday subscriptions. Subscribe to this channel. Also, like this video. And if you're not become a member, consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. The link's at the top of the chat and the bottom of the chat. And I'm in the live chat right now, so say hi. Hi, how are you? I'd love to say hello back to you. In a second, I'll be getting to the surprising developing news about the CDC eviction moratorium. That's for rent. A new report about why the market saw turmoil today and because of a strange margin call, and also a new report about doses and big sites and what that could mean for stimulus. Let me cut back to that $1,400 third stimulus check. There is a big wave, a third wave that will land this Wednesday, by March 31st. Will you be in that wave or will you not be in that wave of direct deposits? Here's what you need to know. The wave of stimulus checks on March 31st will include all the major banks, Direct Express card, and also credit unions and small. Why? Because I've gotten the messages from viewers of this channel that they have deposits pending from all those institutions for March 31st. Now, of viewers who bank at those institutions, you more than likely would not see a deposit appear in the account. Why? Because Treasury last week, a week ago today, confirmed that a large number of you will never see it by direct deposit. You will get it instead in the mail. So what's important to understand is you need to check the mail. And you may never see an alert from the IRS tool. You may never see an alert from any instrument. It may just land in the mail or the direct deposit. Understand, some of you may get it by direct deposit today, tomorrow, or the 31st for the big banks or Direct Express card, and even potentially April 1st. But a lot of you, a ton of you, won't get it by direct deposit. You'll get it in the mail. How many? Well, over the last 2 weeks, I have seen at least 50% of the viewership of this channel, which does about 500,000 to 1 million views a day, showing results that it's not coming by direct deposit, it's coming in the mail. Here is what you need to know. People are just getting stimulus checks in the mail when they were not expecting to come in the mail, when they're fully expecting to come by direct deposit. What has happened over this duration of first, second, and third waves is that some people have not gotten stimulus checks. And that group includes everyone. There are people who file tax returns who have not gotten stimulus checks. People who use the non-filer filing tool who haven't gotten stimulus checks. And there are people on benefits who use the non-filer filing tool or file tax returns who haven't gotten stimulus checks. Meantime, as soon as the bill was passed, before the first wave even hit on the 17th, viewers did get stimulus checks who are on SSI and SSDI, did get stimulus checks who are on SSI and SSDI and use the non-filer filing tool, did get stimulus checks who file tax returns. So you see there's literally a group everywhere that hasn't gotten stuff and has gotten stuff. Over the weekend, that letter from Representative Neal heated up, and the letter has now been proven to be absolutely inaccurate. The letter is accurate as to only one issue, that people did not get stimulus checks. But the reason why they didn't get the stimulus checks is not true. Those stimulus checks were not delivered, claimed Neal, because Treasury didn't know about you. And that on Thursday, Treasury was provided that information by Representative Saul from SSA, well, Commissioner Saul from SSA. We know that's actually not the reason why you haven't gotten your stimulus check. Why? Because hundreds of thousands of viewers of this channel who absolutely are in the IRS.GOV Check My Stimulus Check tool for 2 weeks are on benefits, show a result of March 26 and never got the stimulus check. So it's not that they don't know who you are. There's no issue about not identifying who you are. You're actually in the tracking tool. Hundreds of thousands of viewers. It's because they haven't gotten you the stimulus check. What's important to understand is that March 26 date has a lot of questions across the board. That March 26 date is trying to resolve itself in a few ways. One, getting the checks out late. Some viewers have gotten the checks out late after the 26th. Others have not. Number two, modifying the results. We have seen very few viewers where the tool has updated itself to now show a later date. But here's what you need to watch. Is this April 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. The third wave of stimulus checks by mail have April 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, and 5th dates for mail delivery. What does that mean? It means that the effective date in the corner of the check is that date, April 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. That is not the date that goes out and it's not the day that it lands. Over the weekend, people were sending me DMs. This morning, they're sending me DMs. Did you know that this is a banking holiday? You won't get a stimulus check? No. Understand that these dates that are mail plus is not the date you receive it. It's the date that's in the corner of the check. It's also not the day it's sent out. So when would you likely receive it? Generally, you receive the stimulus check 2-3 days ahead of time before the effective date. It hasn't happened for the April 26th check. March 26th check. So we will see tomorrow if more of those March 26th checks start to land late. That will be the promising news we're hoping to see across the board. The impact, as you sit here right now, is that stimulus checks are coming. They're coming. They're just delayed. And what I want you to understand is that thousands of viewers of this channel from first and second stimulus check got them late. They just came late. And that while some people in the chat say, I got my first and second on time, I know there are thousands of viewers that got the first or second, one of the stimulus checks late. And this is happening again. Let me cut to also what's going on this evening. And this is what's really great news. The CDC eviction moratorium is getting extended. The CDC eviction moratorium was set to expire, but it will be extended. And it will be extended to believed to be June or September. It currently applies to individuals who earn less than $99,000 a year and couples who make less than $198,000. To qualify, you have to fill out a declaration from CDC, that's the Center for Disease Control, and provide it to the landlord to indicate you cannot pay the rent and that you should not be evicted. Meantime, there was a lot of craziness here today on Wall Street as what's called a margin call. A margin call kicked in, and that caused a lot of turmoil for a lot of companies and a lot of investment funds. That margin call was impacted at banks like Credit Suisse. While at this time it's premature to quantify the exact size of the loss resulting from this exit, it could be highly significant and immaterial on our first quarter results. This is huge. More about that coming up in the next few days. Meantime, a new report from Politico says that the president's indication of numbers for vaccinations may not be as accurate as he's actually indicating. The vaccination hubs, which are run by FEMA and staffed in part by the National Guard and Pentagon personnel, have administered just 1.7 million doses since the start of February, says a new Politico report. That's not a good number. In fact, it reports that the FEMA locations run by the president are not doing a good job. And rather, over the last 2 weeks, those FEMA sites have done only 67,000 shots a day. That's only 67,000 shots a day. That's only 2.5% of the doses nationally. So why is things working? The federal retail pharmacy program launched by the president is what's working. That nearly 1 million shots are being done a day through the pharmacies. And that when we look at the big FEMA locations, they're not particularly working. Meantime, what you're also going to see over the next few days in the fourth stimulus package is the question of whether there'll be aid for farmers again. Yes, Sirloin's going to be happy. The cows and more stimulus. The influential farm group, the American Farm Bureau, is now trying to tackle with the issue whether there'll be a capture carbon fund established under forced stimulus. A lot of surprising details across the board. And boy, it is just one of those days where there's a lot of things happening. Let me explain where we are and what we're seeing going into tomorrow. Number one, tomorrow will be the big day in which some people may show pending status for a $1,400 third stimulus check for their big banks. Number two, tomorrow may be a day in which more bank deposits may appear and clear for smaller banks that will release the $1,400 third stimulus funds before the effective date of tomorrow. Additionally, tomorrow may also be a day in which more of those March 26 mail checks start to show up because they have been delayed. Additionally, it could be a day in which more of those April 1st through 5th mail checks come in early. They do post early. Finally, the eviction moratorium rolls into an extension period. We'll see the final hours before we see the debut of the fourth stimulus package. And what I want you to understand is when you see the fourth stimulus package, it's going to be a little bit Temple of Doomish from 2020. What do I mean by this? Remember in 2020 when I was reporting something and then suddenly Mitch would debut something, let's say it's the skinny bill, and it wouldn't have something in there, and people would freak out. Oh my God, Mitch does not have this in here. Can you imagine he's not giving it to us? Or Pelosi would debut something, the Temple of Doom, and it would not have it in there. And people would freak out. Oh my God, did you see it's not in there? Well, let me tell you, while we see this incredible great news about potentially doing fourth stimulus by reconciliation again, I want you to understand that there are Democrats that the president needs to pass fourth stimulus by reconciliation, and he needs all of them, not just a few of them. And those Democrats are the ones you want to lean on. Purple power, do your thing. Purple power, do your thing. Because those Democrats, whether it's House or Senate, have said, we're not going to support fourth stimulus unless there's reoccurring stimulus checks in there. As we go into a big evening across the board, I'm back with you in 90 minutes from now as hazard pay heats up. I really appreciate all your love and support, and understand that when fourth stimulus is debuted, in less than 48 hours from now, it may not have in there what you think should be in there, but it's far from over. And as we go into that big delivery of fourth stimulus, stay positive, stay focused. If you've not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Also, like this video. And if you've not become a member, consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. Stay informed, stay focused. Have a great evening. I'll see you on Hazard Pay in 90 minutes from now. And stay on Ally for more.